What's up, guys? So today's video is going to be kind of a different format. This is going to be more of a discussion, think piece type video. And what I want to talk about today is the tier list in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So first off, I have to preface with two things. First, this is purely my opinion, just from playing the game, watching what high-level match footage we've seen so far. These are just my estimates, my thoughts right now. And two, I fully expect to be wrong. Kind of the point of this exercise is I thought it would be really fun to lay all my thoughts out on the line while the game is still really young. It's been out for like 2 weeks. And then once we know a little better, maybe around the end of the Capcom Pro Tour, we can look back and laugh at how horribly incorrect I was about all my predictions. So right off the bat, let's just jump in. I'm going to talk about the different tiers that I think exist in this game. So first of all, we're going to talk about what I would call the bottom tier characters, and we'll work our way up from there. So I think that Chris and Frank West are bottom tier. I think they're the worst characters in the game. I think they have gotten pretty significantly worse since Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Frank really struggles to open people up without the assist system. I think that kind of hurts him. He doesn't really have good mix-ups. It takes too much effort to kind of get the high level of power-ups compared to the reward that you get for doing it. So I think he's really not great in this game. Chris, I also think is pretty bad. He wasn't great in Marvel 3, but he is definitely worse here, I think. He can't quite do the damage that he needs to be relevant, and the fact that his Magnum is now like a limited resource, you only get 3 of them, I don't feel like they buffed the move enough to make up for that, as opposed to like Ibuki, they made her kunais a limited resource, but they made them so strong that it kind of made it worth it. So I think these characters, I would recommend, unless you're like huge fans of the characters, you should not pick them right now, in my personal opinion. Next up, we're going to talk about the low tiers. So these characters, I would say you can make them work. It's going to take more effort, but they can work. So if you really like the character, go ahead and pick them, I guess. So we've got Spencer, I think is worse than his Marvel vs. Capcom 3 iteration. One of his big benefits before was raw damage. He was one of the most damaging characters in the game. But now they've kind of normalized the damage across the board because of the way hit stun scaling works. Most characters are going to struggle to do above like 70-80% damage unless you do something ridiculous with like your Infinity Storm or something. So he doesn't really have the benefit of the big damage, and besides that, he doesn't really have that great of tools to make things happen in neutral. He has like some okay mix-ups with command throw and high-low, but I don't really think it's enough. Ryu, I think, was pretty bad in Marvel 3, and I do think he's slightly better here, but he still has some problems. Like, he can't chain his crouching light kicks, so he can't like force people to block low very well, so it's pretty hard to open people up. Nemesis, I think, is probably slightly improved from Marvel 3 also, but again, I don't know if it's enough. Like, the fact that you can reflect rockets is pretty bad, and like the slippery noodle attack, they're kind of like annoying, but I don't really think they're enough. You can't really like force a win with them. You can just kind of throw them out to annoy people. Captain America, I don't know. I think he's another one where like the lower damage, the fact that he can't do the insane damage that he used to be able to do is kind of a problem. And he's another one of these characters that kind of struggles to open people up. That's kind of like a common thread in these lower tier characters, I think, are people who really suck at forcing hits on the opponent. And Hulk, I think, suffers because of the changes to super armor, the fact that heavy attacks break super armor now. And also, from what I was talking about with kind of the normalized damage, you know, like most characters can do like 60-70% for 1 meter, and that includes Hulk. So like, why would you pick the slow character that it's really hard to get hits with when you could pick the really fast character and do the same amount of damage, you know? So again, these are the lower tier characters. I would say they're a little bit worse than average. It might be a little bit harder to try to main them, but it's not going to be terrible, you know? You can make it work. Next up, we're going to talk about the mid tiers. I would consider these characters about average. I think these characters can hang. You'll probably see them on some tournament teams, but they're not going to be super dominant. So there's a lot of them, so I'm not going to go super in-depth here. Hager, we've already seen some success from. The pipe is good as always. He's got the barrel. It's an interesting new tool. So I think Hager is like solid. Characters like Arthur, Ghost Rider, Thor, Rocket Raccoon, we've seen these guys before in some tournament teams. They take good advantage of the tag cancel system. They have some solid neutral game, but nothing like really ridiculous. Hawkeye and Morrigan, I think, are maybe not quite as good as they were in Marvel 3. The projectile reflecting kind of hurts them, but you know, Morrigan's still got solid rushdown. She's got a very good super for tag canceling, and Hawkeye has pretty solid keep away despite the projectile reflecting. I still think he's okay. Firebrand, we haven't seen much Firebrand at all yet, but I think he's pretty good. The new tornado move helps him out, and he's pretty fast, pretty good at opening people up, but I don't see anything yet that makes me go like, wow, this character is ridiculous. Mega Man X is probably the character I'm least certain about on this list because he's brand new, and we haven't seen that much of him, but nothing I've seen has really impressed me so far. He seems like, compared to his big brother Zero, he's not quite as good at opening people up. Zero has like ridiculous high-low, which Mega Man doesn't really have. And he doesn't really have anything to kind of make up for that fact. So, again, these characters I think are all solid. I think you can definitely do well, and we'll see them on tournament teams, but I don't think they're going to like dominate the meta, if you want to call it that. Next, we're going to talk about the high tiers. I think these characters are very strong, and you should have no reservations about picking them if you like them. So, Captain Marvel, very fast, great mix-ups. Super armor is really useful for her. Great character all around. Zero, not quite as good as he was in Marvel 3, where he was just like ridiculously broken, but I still think he's solid. He's got ridiculous high-low, some of the best in the game. Very good zoning with his projectiles. Buster is insane, as always. Zero's a great character. Chun-Li is so fast. She's like practically unblockable. She kind of makes up for it by doing somewhat low damage, but she's got some stuff, and like Kokosho is a really good super for tag canceling, so I think overall Chun-Li is pretty strong. Thanos is a pretty good support character. He's really good to tag in because he has really high damage on his air super. He's great at setting up tag mix-ups. He's not amazing on his own, but again, I think he's a valuable addition to a lot of teams. Doctor Strange, Strider, Iron Man, Spider-Man, I think all these characters are improved from their Marvel 3 versions. They've got great mix-ups. They take great advantage of tag cancel. Especially like Iron Man and Spider-Man, their tri-jumps are so improved. They're so hard to like keep them off you. They can apply mix-ups fast and furious, so I think these are really strong characters. And in general, I would say that this group of characters, they're all great, but they're not quite at the top of the list. So next up, we're going to talk about the top tiers. These three characters are not the absolute best, but they're still ridiculously good. So Nova, one of the best rushdown characters in the game. We've seen so much powerful Nova play so far. He's got the super fast tri-jumps, he's got big damage, he's got a great level 3, he's kind of got everything except for like an invincible move other than his supers, but he doesn't really need that. He's a very, very strong like get in your face and rush you down character, and he's got good projectiles on top of it. Dante, very high in utility, really, really good air projectiles, great for tag canceling, great high-low mix-ups, teleport mix-ups, huge normals as always. His raw launcher is like ridiculous. It's like actually one of the best moves in the game. It's like a DP that's completely safe. Super, super good Dante. And Jeddah is another character he's kind of like a support character. By adding him to any team, that team becomes a lot better. Because basically if you get a hit with your first character, you can tag in Jeddah, do his command throw into a mix-up, tag in your other character, and then if you get a hit, the character dies. So just having him on your team makes your team super potent. He's very, very good at using meter, which is pretty good for a second character. So I think he's a great addition to any team. The only reason I don't think he's like one of the absolute best characters in the game is because he does kind of struggle if he's by himself, if the first character dies. So these guys, I think, are super strong. You're going to see them, and we're already seeing them in like at least half of tournament teams have one of these characters on it, but they are not the absolute best. So here is the broken tier. In my opinion, the top 3 characters in the game. We've got Ultron, the best rushdown character. He's so fast. His mix-ups are ridiculous, both high-low and like air dashing over and cross-up mix-ups. So crazy strong. His drones are really good for doing tag cancel mix-ups. He's got great supers. He takes advantage of the tag system really, really well. Extremely powerful character. Gamora, a very strong all-around character. Her gunshots are so crazy. They like go through any projectile, including supers. They're so annoying to deal with, and she can hit confirm off them from so far away. She kind of reminds me of like Morgan in Marvel 3, where just like the entire time that she's playing, she controls the screen. She makes you play her game. Really good combos, good high-low. If you tag cancel into her, she's really good at taking advantage of that. Super, super strong character. And then finally, the problem, Dormammu. I think this is like everyone's least favorite character so far is Dormammu. We all know he's so good. He's got the rose bed, the spell where it puts kind of the bed of thorns on the ground. Maybe the best move in the game, probably. It's so ridiculous. It makes them block forever. You can do like 10 mix-ups while they're blocking. You can combo it into itself and do that for a while. Set it up when the opponent's getting up. So crazy, but that's not all. He's got like tri-jump mix-ups. He's got good zoning. The ball super is really ridiculous in this game because you can make the opponent block it and then like tag cancel and mix them up. It's so crazy. So these characters I think are super dominant. I think you're going to see them in a ton of tournament teams, and obviously we already are. Like Filipino champ won SoCal Regionals with 2 of these characters as his team, so I don't necessarily think any of them need nerfs. I don't think there needs to be like a patch, but maybe like Dormammu, the Bed of Thorns could be nerfed. That would be like the only one that I would really want, but other than that, I think we kind of need to let the meta shake out and see what happens and see how wrong I am about this list, guys. So again, I want to emphasize that I fully expect that this tier list is going to end up being wrong, but I think it'll be a lot of fun if we can like look back and kind of laugh about it. So that's going to be it, guys. Please let me know in the comments if you would like to see more of these types of discussion videos without any gameplay. Let me know if that interests you at all. And here's a reminder that this Sunday I'm doing a live stream where I am raising money through GoFundMe for Puerto Rico for a charity. So make sure you tune in this Sunday for the live stream. It's running like for 6 hours, like almost all day. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.